Welcome back to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today I'm going to show you how to apply HTV to a t-shirt using a home iron. Now, this one right here is from Oliso. I know I never say that right, but it is from Oliso. So this is their mini model. So this is the mini one to their big one, but I've decided to use the smaller one because it's going to do the exact same thing a big one would. Now, this model that I have, the little feet will come down when I stop, but I don't want to do that. So what I've got here is my little mini iron, and then I'm also going to show you using a towel. So how do we use a towel to replace our Cricut pad along with a home iron? So a question we get all of the time whenever we do our HTV projects is, can we use our home iron? And the answer is yes. So you just want to kind of figure out what setting is best for you. You'll kind of figure that out over time. So for example, with this model right here, we have 1, 2, and 3. So you have like your lighter fabrics like silk and things like that, and it'll move its way up to the highest setting, which is for cotton. So I always recommend going to your highest setting for cotton whenever it comes to your home iron, or bring it back just a smidge. Now, if you have one of those heat guns where you guys can figure out your temp, I would shoot it right in the center and figure out about what temperature that is, and then you can kind of play around with it from there. So one thing I recommend right away from the beginning is make sure your home iron has no water in it. So the biggest tip I can give you with your home irons, it doesn't matter if you have the cheapest one from Walmart, it could be a $10 iron, is going to do the exact same thing. So there's a few things we're going to need is number one, your home iron, make sure there is 0 water. So if there's water in it, you definitely want to remove it. You want to dump it out because you don't want to steam this at all. You definitely don't want water in your iron. Biggest tip that I can give you guys. Number two, like I said, turn your dial all the way up or maybe back it up just a smidge. Once again, you have a heat gun, test that out. Now, what I really love about this model one right here is it does have, now this is a more expensive one, but this is just what I have. It has this really cool pad here that lets you set it here to work with. I love that. So another thing that you're gonna need is this has a barrier. So this is a question we get all the time. So this right here, if I was using a home iron, if I was doing one layer like this, I don't need anything in between. I don't need a parchment paper. I don't need anything because this plastic right here is my barrier. This is technically my Teflon sheet, my parchment paper, my blowout paper, whatever you want to call it. This clear carrier sheet is going to protect us between our HTV and our home iron. Now, if I was doing layers, I would definitely want to get some parchment paper or some baking sheets. Let me show you. Now, you may have rolls of parchment paper that looks like this. These ones in particular I purchased that are specifically for HTV from places like Heat Press Nation and places like that. But if you purchase some parchment paper like this from the grocery store, it's the same. You could grab it from the Dollar Tree, lots of places. Now, one that you guys can use all of the time looks like this. These are called baking sheets. So they're the same thing. It's just trimmed down to size. I love them because they're already ready to go for us. And these are different colors. So it could be white, it could be this color here, and you could also use a Teflon sheet. So if you have a Teflon sheet, definitely feel free to use that as well. So if you are doing layers and you peel off your carrier sheet and you're gonna have any sort of HTV exposed, you definitely wanna use some sort of barrier, like I said, Teflon, parchment, baking sheet. Okay, now like I said, I don't need that because I'm only doing one layer. So I've got my t-shirt here, which is 100% cotton, and then I have myself a towel. So what we want to do here is we want to create a pressing surface. So if you don't have a Cricut Easy Press or anything like that, you can use a towel. So if you go to Cricut's Heat Guide, you'll notice that, it'll ask you if you're using a Cricut pad or a towel. So you would choose a towel so you could get those proper settings for a towel. So if you have the Cricut Easy Press, you could definitely use a towel with it as well. All right, so I've got my towel. So what I want to do is fold it up, but to where it's still smooth. I don't want any sort of, like if I press on this, I don't want any pieces that are going to be uneven. So this feels pretty smooth to me, pretty solid. But if I needed to, I could unfold it like this. And that way it's going to be perfectly smooth. So you could definitely do this. So I'll go and do this one just so you guys could see. And we're going to go ahead and get it underneath our t-shirt. So we're going to move this guy out of our way for a second. And then we are going to line this up. Now, you really want to avoid any sort of seam. So if you have anything like this, any sort of texture, you may want to move that out of your way. So I have a nice, even, smooth area for my towel. Okay, so we've got this. So now let's bring back in our t-shirt here. And I'm using this super cute senior SVG because we're about to be dealing with graduation, and this would make such a great gift as such. Even though we are nearing the end of graduation for our seniors for 2022, it's okay because they still may want to wear this throughout the summer, if you will, all through next year because they were a senior in 2022. Now, if you're watching this in 2023 or 2024, we have lots of different images available for those years. So we always update those every single year. All right, so we're going to smooth this out. And we are going to get ready to move this up a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is figuring out my center. So my center is directly where this tag is, and you want to come down around 3 fingers or so. So what I'm paying attention to is how far down is the word senior. I'm not really paying attention so much to this line right here because it could drop my senior down to my stomach. So this line right here, we may actually bring it up higher than 3 fingers, and that's okay because this design doesn't technically count per se of where the location is. You really want to focus in on this design here. So to find your center, you're just simply going to fold your design in half here, get a crease, and then I'm just following that neck tag down. So like I said, I'm going to come up just a little bit. So something right about here looks good to me. So just making sure everything looks good. So once again, I don't need anything in between because this is my barrier. So we're ready to go. Once this is heated up, we are ready. And I'm just going to continually move my iron. So I'm not keeping it in one spot. It's just like if you were using the Cricut Mini Easy Press, you would want to keep it moving. So at first, I'm just going to go ahead and run through here and smooth everything out. I'm giving a little bit of pressure, as you guys can see. Not enough to where it's like gouging or anything like that. I'm trying to keep my iron right on top of my design here. And I'm just giving some pressure, constantly keeping it moving. You don't really want to, when it comes to a home iron or the mini Cricut Easy Presses, stay in one place. What will happen is, say for example, this point right here, it could lead that into my t-shirt. And we don't want that. So we're just gonna constantly keep it moving, giving some pressure. And we're gonna do this for around 20 to 30 seconds. And you're doing 20 to 30 seconds over each area. So you just wanna keep going. So with a home iron, it may take you a total of a minute, minute and a half to completely work your way across this whole design, just like so. So I'm just constantly moving, like I said, giving it some pressure. And once again, it doesn't matter if you have a $10 iron, $5 iron from the Goodwill or a local thrift store. It's gonna do the exact same. So one thing I like to pay attention for with the home irons is, does it have a ceramic coating? And the ceramic coating really does help as well. Another thing is, you know, not all irons are the same, so they're not, heat isn't distributed the same. So this area is probably hotter than the tip. So, you know, I know that this area right here needs to make its way on that part of the design as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and slowly work my way across, giving some pressure, constantly moving. So I'm just slowing down now, but I'm now just giving some pressure, like so. Just making sure everything is coming one with the t-shirt. So now what we're gonna do, I think everything is good. Depending on whether your material is a hot or cold peel, we're gonna go ahead and peel. Mine is a hot or warm peel. I'm using Siser Easy Weed here. So I'm just gonna get a corner, nice and slowly, and peel. Now, another question I see all the time is, whether it's using the home iron or you're using a Cricut Easy Press, is how do you know that it's done? So with this t-shirt, I'm hoping you guys are going to be able to tell here. You can see the texture of the t-shirt come through. Let me bring it up a little bit more. So you guys see that little pebbled effect right there? That means it has came through the t-shirt. So once I peel off, if I feel that there's something else, so say that my t-shirt was missing a small piece and it's not, this did really well. I could take a parchment paper, I could take a Teflon sheet, I could put that same piece, this carrier sheet, right back on top, and then focus in on, say for example, this O wasn't sticking. I could really focus in on that. Or if I want to go over everything one more time without that thick carrier sheet, because that carrier sheet is so thick, So if you go over this one more time with a thinner material like a parchment, that's going to help ensure even further that it is one with a t-shirt. Now, you don't want to overheat your HTV. You just want to make sure you have it nice and bonded. And so hopefully you guys can see, like I said, that texture with a t-shirt. I'm really trying to bring that in, but I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it looks great. It is so easy to use a home iron, and you can save a ton of money doing it this way. So if you were only making a t-shirt every now and again, pull out an old towel and a home iron, and you can make these same projects that we show you guys all of the time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.